Hi everybody. Hi Itamar. Welcome to another video of GoT Academy. We got you covered for off-season content, and today we're going to talk about second sons in A Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones, history, life. Are you a second son, Itamar?
No, I'm firstborn.
I'm second son. Okay, so second son in this world that he has created. That's like a thing. It's not just a regular second son.
You have a lot of second sons. You even have a mercenary company that's called Second Sons. And historically speaking, in a feudal system, hereditary system in which the heir is the firstborn male,
right,
a second son serves a political purpose in the fabric of feudalism. The second son grows up knowing that he will not be the heir.
Right.
But I guess some part of him, because people died young back then, part of him says I need maybe to be this understudy in case
maybe my brother dies, maybe.
Yeah, and usually the second son gets he gets a castle, he gets some land, he gets some titles, like the duke or the baron of something.
Becomes a knight, maybe.
Becomes a knight. Knight, I think, is third, fourth son, or something like that. But he knows he will not be the heir. So story-wise and historical-wise, it's very interesting, this tension, because you have two sons, two males, two cocks fighting. One is groomed to be the heir.
The cock?
They groom his cock to become an heir. And the other cock, the other son, is growing up in the older son's shadow. So it's interesting in terms of story.
So let's go through some second sons in the story. Let's start with Lord Eddard Stark.
Eddard, Ned Stark, is a second son.
His older brother was
Brandon Stark.
Brandon Stark.
Brandon
Stark. And the Mad King killed him and his father, and this is how Ned Stark became the Lord of Winterfell. And they mention in the story that he was not groomed for leadership, that he's a soldier, that he was groomed to follow.
Mm-hmm. Being a second son really influenced Ned's worldview.
Right.
He needed some father figure, I guess, or older brother figure that he will take the mantle. He will follow his rule and his laws.
He needs to be pushed to do things. He doesn't have a vision. He's not a player that initiates events. He reacts to things that are happening.
Yeah, and that's because he wasn't groomed to command, and his older brother, died when he was not really young. He was, I think, 18, 19, something like that. Yeah, so it's was a big shock for him. Okay, now I'm the first son. What do I do? They didn't tell me nothing about politics,
let's go to a different second son, Stannis Baratheon. That's an interesting case.
Yeah, I think that's
Robert was the first son, and he was his heir.
And that's, I think, is the most interesting case we have.
Okay, of a second son. To second sons.
Because not only Stannis is the second son, his older brother is Robert. And Robert is not only the firstborn. He's very in the center of things, and he's
a part of history.
He's a part of history.
He's the one who ended the Targaryen rule of 400 years. That's a big deal.
Yeah, and Robert's character is this huge mountain that creates a shadow to his younger brothers, and I guess Stannis is envy.
Right.
And
why do they love him? Why don't they love me? And then Stannis, as the quintessential second son, he's passed over even when he's the heir. He's still the second son, the proverbial second son. He has a chip on his shoulder because of that.
Stannis was a good brother. He was a good second son. He followed Robert.
Right.
He did what he was told.
Even when he didn't agree with him.
But he went to Dragonstone. He didn't complain about it. Yeah, he complained. Everybody didn't like me. But
he didn't make a coup.
No, he didn't try to usurp the law because it's lawful. It's part of his character. I'm the second son. This is my role to be in the shadow. But when the big tree will fall, this is my time under the sun. But
and he didn't even think that he would inherit until after Robert died. So he was just content in being who he was.
Robert, he wasn't supposed to be the heir even when Robert dies, because he has 3 kids of his own.
Right. Okay. Well, Tyrion is also the second son, and there's like a bonding moment between him and another second son, Oberyn Martell, when they meet in King's Landing. Like Tyrion, he's also like a quintessential second son. He's an imp.
He's a bastard even.
He's
like
a bastard, right?
Bastard,
He needed to push his father in order to receive some kind of political position.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy for him. And Oberyn, he took the other way. He said, okay, I'm not going to inherit Dorne, so fuck it.
Yeah, he embraced being second son. Yeah, okay, so my brother will take care of all of this boring stuff. We go fuck some guys, fuck some girls.
Yeah, become a maester, become master of poison.
Yeah, travel abroad,
Yeah, he lived the life.
Also very similar is Euron.
Okay.
Euron Greyjoy is also a second son. A nice example of a second son because he's a second son with ambitions, not only to be the firstborn, to be the first son, but like to be the first man or something like that, like the alpha male.
So at first he went to exile.
Yeah. He embraced it as well, I think. He didn't just want to travel or something like that. I think he was searching for power.
Okay.
To end up like this perfect moment or a perfect storm to come back and take the mantle of governorship, of kingship.
And he killed his brother. In the books, it's more subtle, but you still believe that he did it. In the show, they tell us he pushed him physically.
Yeah.
And a totally different second son who is more Ned-like, that's Kevan Lannister.
My lord.
Right.
Younger brother of Tywin Lannister. He accepted everything. He didn't bitch about it at all. When he becomes the firstborn, whatever.
The first son.
The first son after Tywin dies, he's not a pushover. He tells Cersei, this is the way it's gonna be, both in the books and the show. And he wants to rule as the de facto ruler of the realm. So he does everything by the book. There's also the Blackfish also left Riverrun because he wasn't about to inherit, and he's like the renegade, the black sheep of the family,
the maverick,
second son, the maverick, whatever. And you have Tommen also, second son.
Classic second son.
Right.
Classic example.
He didn't know what he was getting into. He didn't want it.
No.
What happened to him?
Pussy.
Okay, are there any interesting historical examples of second sons that did something interesting?
Yeah, two interesting examples. One is Henry VIII. His older brother, Arthur, I think, died when he was 15, when Henry was 15.
Okay.
And his older brother was married to Catherine of Aragon. Okay. He stepped into Arthur's shoes rapidly and even took his wife.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
that's a biblical thing.
Yeah, it's a biblical thing. It's Yabum, it's called. I don't know in English.
Okay, but
Yabum.
Here is the word.
Maybe that influences, I think maybe you can argue that maybe it influences behavior. Like the fact that he didn't accept the existing rules and he broke up. That's like, cheap psychology or something like that.
I'm not sure if it's cheap.
But he was able to detach himself from the Christian, from the Catholic Church.
Right.
And created basically a new religion and a new national identity or something like that.
Okay.
Another example from England is John of England. He was the brother of Richard I, Richard Lionheart, who was a very popular figure at the time.
Okay.
And
the Crusades and stuff like that?
The Crusade, the Robin Hood story.
Okay.
And people that remember John, they remember him from Robin Hood. The rebellion, the Barons' Rebellion, and the creation of Magna Carta was under his rule. So,
He didn't want that?
He didn't want that at all, no.
Okay. Can you think of any contemporary, interesting second sons in world politics?
Yeah. The classic second son.
Okay.
Who maybe is way over his head.
For sure.
Is Benjamin Netanyahu.
Benjamin Netanyahu is second son?
Short. Yeah, he's the second son of Ben Zion Netanyahu and the younger
historian.
Yeah, historian, the younger brother of Yoni Netanyahu.
Yoni Netanyahu,
who was groomed to be not even the heir, but like the big promise of the Netanyahu family, who grew up in the United States because the father felt that in Israel they don't want him.
Because of his views, of his right-wing views and stuff. It was more socialist back then.
Yeah, me, didn't like. Yeah, something like that.
Right. And what happened to his older brother?
Was very charismatic. Everyone liked him. Everyone. He could shoot someone in the street and still like him. And he was like charismatic and beautiful, very handsome.
And he was
the
a
commander,
war hero.
yeah.
And of the most famous Israeli secret, whatever, covert military action in history. Terrorists kidnapped planes, took them to Uganda, like mostly Israelis were there.
And Jews, yeah.
Jews, and then this is like the first example of a covert operation like 1,000 miles away.
Yeah.
They came in, they killed almost all the terrorists. They didn't hit any hostage. The only hostage who died, it was because she was left in the hospital because she was sick, so she wasn't there. So they rescued, maybe another one had a heart attack, I don't remember.
I think 3 hostages died or something like that.
Okay, like out of 200.
Yeah.
And they freed everybody, and only one soldier died in this operation.
And that was Bibi Netanyahu's older brother.
Yoni Netanyahu. And this is why it's called Mivtza Netanyahu, Operation Yoni. Yeah. And he always has this chip on his shoulder, like, oh, everybody's against me, the rules are not right, it's not correct. What happened to him?
He's the Prime Minister of Israel.
No!
This is a story about the underdog, the unexpected one, the unlikely candidate. And also, it reminds me a lot of Game of Thrones fan fiction, the Bible. It's sort of written from the point of view of the underdog. Okay. And it's like it's a recurrent theme, and it's like a thread throughout the entire story, that the firstborn does not inherit. And I can give you examples.
Okay, please.
Jacob was the second son,
Jacob.
And he took
He usurped
his brother Esau and took the inheritance. David, King David, wasn't the firstborn.
Who is the older brother?
He had some older brother. They're not that important.
Okay.
Saul wasn't the firstborn. Moses was the second son. Aaron was older than him. Solomon, King Solomon, wise, he wasn't the firstborn.
Who is the older brother?
He had some older brothers, in which he usurped and killed them. He did some cleaning before he went to power, got to power.
Okay, so do you have a bold prediction regarding second sons?
Yeah, the underdogs will inherit the earth.
Ooh.
That's my. This is a story about the underdog.
And who are the main underdogs in the story, in your view?
Tyrion,
Sansa, Brienne,
Bran,
Sam.
Even
though he's the firstborn, he's an underdog. So that's the starting
five. He's kind of
a
second son.
Right, because he was disinherited.
Yeah, because he won't get the stuff.
Okay, so if you agree with us about the underdogs inheriting the earth, or if you disagree, please mention in the comments and like the video if you enjoyed it. If you want to support us, you can of course purchase some mugs or t-shirts. The links are in the description, but it would be most helpful if you could support us through Patreon, or you can just go to patreon.com/GOT Academy, and we have some extra content for you patrons. And
a lot of extra content.
We can talk a little bit and stuff. It's cool. And here are some videos that you might not have seen or watched. Here they are. So subscribe to get all our off-season content, and we'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.